It's finally time to do this again. I've been promised you for a long time that we would reevaluate the quarterback race at Auburn after the end of spring. So now let's talk about it and give you some updated projections on who we think will be the starter come fall for Auburn football. But before we do that, I want to welcome you back to the channel, whether you're a member of the Auburn family or a fan of another persuasion. This is the E2C network where the Auburn family speaks. Our content may tend to be Auburn sports heavy, but if it's orange and blue, it's what we do. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any content. And thank you to members of our booster club like Ryan Reese, who help produce videos like this. You didn't really think that we were going to go that long without talking about quarterbacks, did you? I mean, A-Day's only been a few days past since we were doing this video, and I know it's still on your minds. Even much to the chagrin of coaches like Coach Harsin, who want you to talk about other players other than the quarterbacks, even kind of having some fun with reporters when they finally asked a question about a punter. But not on this video. We're going to be talking about the quarterback race and doing our update to a video that we did previously back in the winter, where we gave our thoughts on the quarterback race at that time and percentage confidence of who would be the starter for Auburn football in 2022. It's time again after spring practice is done and watching them all at A-Day. I think it's probably a good time where we can update some things, seeing how there's some new people into the race, people have left. Obviously things have shaken up a bit. And I will tell you this, I came into A-Day expecting there to not be a humongous update to this. That completely changed after A-Day, and not necessarily in a good or a bad way for one particular person, but it obviously made me reevaluate some things, so there's going to be some interesting things to talk about here. So before we move forward, we need to talk about what the previous percentage confidence was in our previous video. Obviously, you can go back and watch that video if you'd like to see what we were thinking at that time. There's a link available for that. But for the percentage confidence at that time was TJ Finley, 35% chance likely, Zach Calzada, 35% chance, Demetrius Davis at 25%, and only a 5% chance for Holden Geriner. We also need to talk about what's happened within the quarterback race since we last did that video. Obviously, the biggest thing was Robbie Ashford entering the quarterback room, at that time making 5 likely candidates to potentially be the starter at that point. It was quite a full room. Since that time, about the middle of spring practice, Demetrius Davis decided that he was going to take his talents elsewhere, to quote LeBron James. And actually today, as of doing this video, announced that he'll be heading to University of Texas, San Antonio to be a roadrunner. I'm very excited for him to be back in his home state. All the quarterbacks that are eligible to be the quarterback are on campus now, although Calzada has been nursing that shoulder injury that has kept him out of most of spring practice and from doing any significant reps, although he's been doing what he can. So that's been part of the factor in the decision process for what we'll be talking about. In terms of how everybody's been performing in spring practice, based on what we were hearing, what we're being told, it seemed like TJ Finley was impressing and obviously earned the first team reps in terms of what we were seeing from reports on practice. Robbie Ashford had been impressing, but he hadn't really earned a significant amount of the first team reps during spring practice. And then Holden, he actually showed that he was very capable and there was a lot of good things being said about him, but obviously not a lot of first team reps for him either. And then came A-Day. Well, with Zach Calzada really out of the race, at least discussion for now, you've got 3 options there and their performances. TJ Finley did fine. Not a great day for him, but fine. Robbie Ashford probably had the most prolific day, being very versatile and very exciting to watch. And then Holden Geriner, my goodness, I mean, just showed that he is not an ordinary freshman. So now this changes things for me and my predictions. So what we're going to do for each of the candidates, just like in the last video, is give you a pro and a con for each right now, and then my percentage confidence that they will be the starter come fall. And obviously keep this in mind, things are going to change rapidly in this. The transfer portal is still wide open in terms of people wanting to come or go. So you never know what's going to happen in this crazy college football world. Let's talk about TJ Finley first, because that's the most logical place to go. He's the incumbent, and he's the guy that you would, at least after leaving the 2021 season, that you would think is the most likely candidate to take the job. So for him, his biggest pro is that the coaches still continue to sing his praises and give him a lot of the first team reps. So there's no question that TJ is being given the opportunity to be able to keep this job and hold on to it. He's just got to seize it. And from all indications during practice, he's been doing that and has looked very comfortable. And he did look pretty comfortable back there for the most part during A-Day. The con, though, is for him, he's really just not wowing anybody. Now that's just a fan's perspective. The coaches see more and know more than us. But just outside looking in, there's not a lot of wow factor there that really kind of makes you say, oh yes, that's the guy. But again, we need to trust the coach's decision on this. But for all those reasons, I'm going to downgrade his likely percentage from where it was at 35% chance to a 30% chance. Not a significant drop, but just based on what's been happening, I have to at least downgrade him a little bit. Now let's talk about Zach Calzada. This is the guy that everybody assumes was brought in to be the starting quarterback, although we have not been able to watch him on the field yet. We've seen him do minor reps and things like that, but he's still getting back from that injury. And that's really probably the thing that's holding him back the most. So his biggest pro right now is his past, what he did at Texas A&M, the capabilities that he's shown in the big moments. That's what really all we have to go off for right now. And honestly, this kind of moves into the con territory. If my understanding and recollection is correct, that he was brought in by Austin Davis, the former offensive coordinator that was here for like 2 weeks max. He's no longer here. That scheme's no longer here. Doesn't mean that Calzada can't work with what we're going to do now, but that does have to play against him at some certain point along with the injury. So for those reasons, I'm actually downgrading Zach Calzada for the moment. Nobody freak out at this, but for the moment, I'm downgrading him from a 35% chance to a 25% chance. Obviously, very easy for him to overtake that prediction though. This is where things get interesting. Old Robbie Ashford, transferred in from Oregon. Basically a trade for Bo with some of his other teammates. I wasn't anticipating him being as big a factor as he probably is going to be in this race, and that's a huge credit to him. He showed during A-Day that he is highly athletic, as we thought he would be, and is very versatile in what he can bring to the table. And he seems very comfortable trying to make things happen. Now, the con side for him, though, there were some inaccuracies. And when you combine that eagerness, that playmaker ability with inaccuracies, that can get a little dangerous, especially at his young age and his inexperience level. So that is probably his biggest con right now. But there is a huge upside that we saw during spring practice in the A-Day for Robbie Ashford. But for all those reasons, I'm actually going to bring him in because remember, he wasn't part of the last video. He's coming in at a 30% chance to win the starting job right now, completely even with TJ Finley. Now let's talk about my man Holden, who a lot of people are excited about, and boy did he show that freshman doesn't really mean anything, it's just a word. You can be just as capable even at a young age for the Auburn Tigers. His A-Day performance, while granted with some of the second and third string players, was pretty impressive what he was able to do, especially with that connection to Landon King in the end zone to end the A-Day scrimmage. What Holden proved is that he should be taken seriously, and not that we weren't, but it's just the normal progression of things typically, where the upperclassmen, especially the more experienced guys, usually get a more fair shake at things. Holden proved that he deserves that fair shake. I was very pleased to see that happen. And now his con is also the same thing we've been talking about, that he's a freshman, he's inexperienced. So he's really gonna have to prove. This isn't the same situation that we had with Bo in the Joey Gatewood competition, where no offense to Joey, but Bo was clearly the better quarterback, and that's why he was able to win the job as a true freshman. Couple that with the experienced players that are ahead of him, it's gonna be a hard road for him to win that job, but it's still possible. For all those reasons, I'm gonna raise his likelihood up from 5% to 15%. This race just got interesting, folks. So in summary, TJ Finley, 30% chance. Robbie Ashford, 30% chance. Zach Calzada, 25% chance. And now Holden Geriner, 15%. So those are my thoughts on the quarterback race right now, and I'd love to hear yours in the comments section below. Do you agree or disagree with me? Where do you think things stand now at the end of spring practice and as we move into summer? We'll likely do an update video for this, barring coach's decision. Obviously, they may beat us to it, but if it comes to that time, we'll do it. But let's keep that conversation going down below. If you enjoyed this type of content, please do help support it by smashing that like button. And if you want more from us, be sure to hit the subscribe along with the notification bell so you don't miss any uploads or live streams. There's also ways to help support our content listed in the description of this video, such as hitting the join button here to become a channel member for $1 a month, or you can go to patreon.com/E2C Network, be a member of the Booster Club starting at $1 a month and going up with different perks at different levels. Thank you for tuning into the E2C Network, where the Auburn family speaks. War Eagle.